Instant match reaction, Everton 0, West Ham 1. Everton starting off 2021 in absolutely dreadful fashion. It was a typical New Year's Day game, wasn't it, really? Just boring. Absolutely boring. Nothing really happened. I think there was one shot on target until like the 85th minute, and that was a chance from Bernard from a volley, which was just nothing anyway. And then West Ham hit us in the last 5 minutes of the game, scored a goal, and we knew at that point, even with 6-7 minutes to go, we knew we weren't getting back into the game whatsoever. We never showed anything in the game to show that we could get back into it. It was just atrocious, absolutely appalling. And again, another reality check today, in the same ways that we had a reality check after the last good run of games and good run of wins that we went on. We've had another reality check today, is to state that this squad and these players just aren't good enough to fight, you know, for a Champions League position or fight for the title. I was never interested in a title challenge anyway. I think that was just something that, you know, we had in the back of our head, but it was never going to happen. And today's shown you can't put in performances like that. It very much reminded me of the game against Chelsea at Goodison Park a couple of weeks ago, only we were Chelsea. They set up with a very organised back line, good shape. Even though they didn't have a lot of the ball, he fell back into the shape well. Whereas Chelsea had creative players to at least try and get at us and try and break us down, and we had to defend, you know, and they made it hard for us at times. We never made it hard for West Ham today, never made it hard whatsoever. Didn't have anything going forward. Bernard got his opportunity, not good enough, just absolutely not good enough. What's the point in having him coming on against Sheffield United and performing so well and then getting his chance to start, and he's just dreadful. Absolutely, I'd get rid in January, I really, really would. And everybody else on the pitch, Richarlison doesn't escape it. He was woeful today, and he's been woeful for a few weeks now, Richarlison. I don't know what's going on, I don't know what's wrong with him, but he was really poor today, really wasteful. Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't have anything, but again, he was getting into that habit of coming into the centre of the midfield and trying to pick the ball up. He was even at right back at one point trying to get the ball instead of just sticking in his usual position. But you can't blame him because there's no creativity in the team. Okay, we brought James Rodriguez off the bench and Andre Gomes off the bench, and both done okay. Certainly Andre Gomes, I thought, was our only real bright spark towards the back end of the game, but never really offered anything, you know, cutthroat. Never anything that you thought, right, okay, that, you know, we're going to go on and we're going to get something out of this game. And like I said, everybody was just poor today. Defensively, yes, we were, you know, we weren't awful. They didn't break us down an awful lot of times, but there was a couple of moments where if West Ham had been a little bit more sharp, then they could have put the ball in the back of the net. And ultimately, there was another big lapse in concentration within the last 5 minutes, and a ball comes off Ben Goffey when it's deflected, and Souček's at the back post and he puts it in. And, you know, there was no chance of us getting back into the game. It was just so slow. It was so lackadaisical. There was no energy. There was no urgency. And okay, the defence done okay, and it was just, you know, a solid enough performance up until the last sort of 5 minutes. But going forward, it's so flat. And it was very similar to the game against Sheffield United. And I said we can't play in that same fashion. We can't perform like we did against Sheffield United because West Ham are much better. They're much better defensively, and they've got players that can hurt you going forward. And they've just showed that today. They've showed that they can keep a strong defensive line, and all they have to do is sit there and go, right, these can have 90% of the ball, because they've got no creativity at all to do anything with the ball, and we didn't. We absolutely had nothing. Richarlison, like I said, stunk the place out today. Absolutely stunk the place out. Bernard isn't good enough for this team. Gylfi Sigurdsson was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. Tom Davies giving stupid fouls away, giving stupid balls away. Done all right on the ball, but was giving stupid balls away. Abdoulaye Doucouré is probably the only decent player consistently throughout the game. But again, even in the first half, when we were stringing balls together and we were stringing nice passages of play and passes together, you still always felt like, yeah, you know, we're all right on the ball, but it's so slow, it's so predictable. Even if we are making passes, even if we aren't being very sloppy, it's that slow that West Ham can afford to just sit back and go, we know where you're going to go, we know your next move, we know what you're going to do. It was abysmal. It was utterly abysmal. And again, you know, James come back into the team, obviously off the bench, and I'm not going to sit here and judge him massively because it was his first game back in some time and he didn't really have, you know, they kept a strong defensive line, certainly, especially when he come on. But creative-wise, we're just so void of anything at the moment. I can't help but feel like we lacked Alex Iwobi today. Alex Iwobi picked up a knock in training and consequently wasn't, you know, able to start the game or play any part in the game. But I can't help but feel like we lacked Alex Iwobi's you know, pace and just that energy running of players. What Bernard brought on last week against Sheffield United would have been so important today, but he comes on today and it's backward passes. He doesn't want the ball. I just don't see the point. If you're not going to run at players, then just fuck off. Just go and sit on the bench. Just say to Carlo Ancelotti, I'm not bothered. I don't want to be here. So why aren't you running at players? Richarlison's the same. Not enough from him today. Poor Dom is coming into centre midfield, and that's when you know nothing's going to go for us, when your strikers having to come in to central midfield areas to pick the ball up. And Dom isn't a striker who picks the ball up, turns and runs at players and scores a goal. He's a striker who scores from creativity. So when he's picking that ball up, not only is he coming out of his unnatural position, but he's not then going to turn and run with it. He's going to give it and go. And it's like, we just had nothing. We just had absolutely nothing. And did we deserve to lose the game? Don't know. Some would say, yeah, probably had 0-0 written all over it, to be perfectly honest with you. But again, it's a massive reality check. This instant match reaction would probably be about 10 seconds long if West Ham wouldn't have scored, because nothing happened in the game. I think there was one shot on target from a Bernard volley, which was tame, and that was it. Nothing else happened. Neither keeper was really troubled, but they go and they score the winning goal. And, you know, ultimately, that just shows that we aren't in a position to be sort of fighting really at the top end of the table, because we can't perform like that. We can't give away games like that. We can't gift 3 points away in that fashion. It's just not good enough whatsoever. And it was far too easy for West Ham. Certainly defensively, they had a very easy day at the office. And okay, we done well defensively for large parts in the game, and we didn't give them much of an opportunity, but they had many more chances than us. Even though they mightn't have had a shot on target, they had clear chances where, you know, if a player is maybe a couple of yards ahead, it's not just a shot on target, it's a goal, and ultimately they scored the winner in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, look, I don't really know what else to say. It was utterly abysmal. It's a massive reality check. It's not good enough whatsoever, and Carlo has to fix the massive void of creativity in this side. I don't know where it's come from. The start of the season, we were conceding goals far too easily, but we were scoring for fun. We were scoring goals week in, week out. Richarlison was excellent. James was in full flow. Dom was getting on the score sheet constantly. Now it's like we're not conceding, okay, but we just look so void of any creativity going forward. It's like we can't have that balance of playing well defensively and scoring goals going forward, and I just don't understand why that is. But there you go. Disappointing result, disappointing performance. Not one that we can sit and talk about for the ages, to be honest. A dreadful game of football, let's be perfectly honest. But ultimately, you know, in the same fashion as that I sat here on Saturday and said awful game of football, but we've won, so I don't care. Now it's the flip side. Now West Ham fans will be saying that, whereas we're sitting here saying we've lost from a goal in the last 5 minutes. But ultimately, we can't just put it down to that. It's not like we had 15 shots on target and their keeper made worldy saves and had a brilliant game of football. Brilliant game. He didn't. He had nothing to do. The defence had nothing to do. Ogbonna made a couple of, you know, headed clearances, but that was about it. Just not good enough today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Give it a like if you want, if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Play ratings will be up a little bit later on. But yeah, cheers for watching. See you soon.